Hey y'all, it's Q Bubbles. I know I've been gone, but it's 49 days until Halloween, so let's get into these spooky stories. I got some hospital stories, some ICU nurses stories, and awesome some Audacity Stitch. So sit back and relax, and we're about to get back into our spooky story. We got 49 more days. I'm not going to go live no more. I'm just going to find them and upload them this way. It's much better. And guess what, y'all? I got approved for the program, so I'm excited to continue to upload.
I work in hospice. Spirits are real. I'm sorry. Ghosts are real. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you. One time I'm in this room on my own and I'm cleaning this body to be bagged. I'm the only one in there, right? I'm by the body. The bathroom call light starts going off, like ringing. And I'm like, so I walk in there, press the little button, turn it off. Walk back out there, starts going off again. I walk back in there, turn it off. I walk back out to the body and the call light, it's like next to her, is buzzing, like it's making a buzzing noise. They don't do that. They don't make that noise. I was like, bitch, the fuck? The time this girl that I work with was holding this patient's hand as they passed. And then when they like closed their eyes, passed, took their last breath, she looks up at the light starts flickering. Like immediately after the patient passed, light starts flickering. It don't do that. It don't work like that. Something was there. Not hospice, but I had this confused patient once, and he did not remember what he said 3 seconds ago. Like, was not talking about the same stuff all day. He was super confused, right? 3 separate times throughout the day, he looks at me and asks me about the lady with long black hair standing behind me and not smiling. What the fuck do you mean? The lady with long black hair standing behind me and not smiling?
No, y'all, real. What the hell? Because I would have burnt the whole job down. Tasmanian devil up out of that job. Mm, Simone Biles and his mug, fastest sprinter. We up out of this mug. Y'all comment down below your thoughts so far. What could that been? And
Story about a time that you know that you saw something, but you don't ever tell this story because you know that no one would ever believe.
Okay, I've waited a long time to tell this story, and it still gives me like the shakes and like the chills. So in one of my past lives, I was an ICU nurse, an oncology ICU nurse, I want to specify. I had picked up a night shift, and our census was really low this night. I actually had only one patient, was not intubated, was, kind of in that gray area of had been extubated, waiting for tele, walkie talkie, happy, healthy for the most part. Easy patient. So the other night ICU nurse, because we only had two on staff that night, me and another nurse, she got assigned charge. So she was kind of running around between the other three floors while I just stayed with that one patient. And I had the code phone and the rapid response phone. And so I had a teletech who stayed in the ICU with us and watched all of the patient's monitors. And if I got called to a rapid or anything like that, she would watch my patient and call the other nurse. So anyways, it's about 2-3 in the morning. We get a call. I get a call and it's a rapid response. So I run down to the tele floor. Thankfully the patient just needed, a few interventions, and they were able to stay on tele and be monitored, and didn't have to be transferred to the ICU. Anyways, so I am walking back to the ICU like an hour later. I had no calls, no text on my phone from the teletext. So I was like, oh, he must have been good. Nothing happened while I was in that rapid. Awesome. So I'm like casually walking back into the ICU. And so when you walk in, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there was another door and like the other ICU rooms. And so it was a small unit. Like I said, it was an oncology ICU specifically. So when you walk in, all the doors are glass, and you look over in room 4, which room 4 was like every nurse knows, it was that room. If shit was gonna hit the fan, it was that room every freaking time. It was all. So I walked through the double doors. It's still, I walked through the doors, and the teletech's sitting right here, and I see somebody clear as day walk in front of the glass doors in ICU 4, and I instantly freak out. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta admit, while I was gone, did somebody code? Like, what happened, because for somebody to be transferred into that room and not be called as a co-nurse, like, it had to have been bad. So, like, it just, if you worked there, you would know what I'm saying. Like, we just didn't have great communication. Like, they would just roll the patient up to you dying, basically. And I was like, oh my God, this patient's coding. Oh my God. So, like, I run in this room. Like, I run across the ICU and run into this room. There's nobody in there. The teletech gets up. She's like, Kate, what's wrong? Why are you running? Like, I was like, there was somebody in here. Like, and I'm shaking, like, vivid, like, just like this, like I am now, because it still freaks me out. I was like, there's somebody in here. I saw him, and I start opening the doors. I start opening the cabinets. I'm like, where is he? I saw him. I'm not crazy. I saw him. I was like, I could describe what he was wearing, what his hair looked like. I still to this day can see this. It was a tall, like 6'2" white man with white hair. And I'm just shaken to my core at this point. And I'm like, because before that, I had really never seen a ghost or anything like that. And so I was just like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. And so I'm like praying, putting holy water on me. I'm like, hell no. Hell no. And the next morning, day shift comes in to relieve me. And I tell them what happened, because I'm like, I am freaked out at this point. And I'm still freaked out to this day, and it's been 4 years. And they're like, oh, you know what? That description sounds like a guy who died of esophageal varices like a month ago. Yeah. That's my nurse ghost story. Still freaks me out to this day. Like, still vividly shake when I think about it. So scary. But that's what changed my mind. I did not believe in ghosts prior to that, and I believe in them now. 100%.
Now she know what she saw. What she saw. Comment down below what y'all think she saw. Now, do y'all think she saw the man that died a month ago? Do y'all think she was over exaggerated? Could have been tired. Who knows? But I do know the hospitals see a lot of stuff, y'all. Let's get back into these stories. Comment down below your thoughts so far. All right, y'all, let's go.
Tell me a story about a time that you know that you saw something, but you don't ever tell this story because you know that no one would.
Anybody who's ever worked in long-term care in a nursing home, there's always some kind of ghost stories, paranormal stories. And no matter where you work, it always seems that these stories are like, no matter where they're like different variations of the same story. So I always just assumed most of these stories were just from overactive imaginations or stories that have just been passed down and passed down. But there is a lot. So anyways, this is a story of what I guess we'll call the trench coat man. I worked at a nursing home in the early 2000s. There was a story about what they called the trench coat man. And he would stand down at the end of the hall and just stand there. I never really believed it because I had never seen anything. I'm very much a skeptic, so I was like, I've never seen anything. Anyhow, so that night I had stayed over to work part of a shift on the overnights. And so it was after midnight. I was working a hall, and it's a long hallway, and so they called it 2-3. The first part of the hallway was 2, and the second part of the hallway was hall 3. And right in the middle, there was a hall that intersected, and they called that 4. So it's nighttime, but in the halls, if you've ever been in a nursing home after dark, they turn the overhead lights off, but there are little lamps that are going down the hallway, and they're usually like right after residents' rooms, doorways. So it's lit up enough that you can walk and kind of see your surroundings, but it's not lit up like the overhead lights are on, but you can see what's going on. So I was walking down 2, and I went to go, and as I was going down 2, went to turn onto 4. As I did, I looked up and looked down hall 3, because I was working 2-3 just to check on the hallway. When I looked down there, there was a man. What looked like a man. Assuming a man, it was a large black figure, shadow, outline of a man or person standing down there. Very tall, large, almost looming. He had a hat on, or what looked like a hat, and he was just standing there, like staring right back at me. Now, my first initial thought was not that this was something paranormal. I more thought that it was either somebody was in the nursing home or there was a resident who was up. So either way, I was going down there to figure out what it was. As I was standing there, before I could even take a step, this figure turned, looked into this room, and turned his body and walked into the room. I walked into the last room, which that was a resident's room. And I thought, oh gosh, that's not good. Got to get down there. So I continue to walk down 3, never take my eyes off of hall 3. I get down there to that room and I walk in and there's nobody there. The only person that's in there is the resident who resides in that room. And that person could not walk. They were bedridden. So they couldn't get up. The only other person that was big enough to fill out a silhouette like that was another resident who was right next door. But I knew he was asleep because the whole time as I was walking down there, I could hear him snoring because he snored loud. And so I get down there. Like I said, there's nobody in that resident's room. That other resident is not awake. There is no one to be found. I don't know if it was a trench coat man. I don't know if I was tired or what. But I know I watched a black shadow stand there, stare at me, then look at the room right next to him, and then slowly turn his body and walk into that room. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But who knows?
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely.
Hi, so I live in Japan, right? And I used to live in a city called Ishinomaki. And I have quite a few ghost stories from this, but my favorite one is the one that I completely cannot explain. And that is, long story short, I was on this app called Clubhouse, and I was in one of those rooms and they were talking about like ghosts and demons and stuff like that. And I got really like into the paranormal stuff because I'm kind of witchy and I wanted to see like what can happen. But I didn't do anything. I just listened and, talked about past experiences from my childhood. And so that night, I went to sleep. And you'd have to know me to know that I hate cigarettes. Like, I will cross the street if a person is smoking a cigarette. I cannot stand the smell of them. So, child, how about I woke up and I had like a one bedroom apartment with a sliding door that opened into the living room and the kitchen. And I woke up and I smelled smoke in my apartment, knowing damn well I live by myself and my windows are closed. So I know nobody's smoke is coming in from outside, and I don't live on a major street. I live in the East Shinnecock. It's like the countryside, and I live by a river. So like I know there's no way that there's smoke in my apartment. I'm like, surely I'm hallucinating. But whatever. I get up, I open my sliding door to go to the kitchen and get something to drink. Y'all, now I'm not no liar. I didn't see a ghost. But what I did see was a damn cloud of cigarette smoke sitting above my couch. Like somebody was sitting on the couch smoking a cigarette. And I said, oh, hell no. I believe in ghosts and spirits. So I told him or her, probably him, because I know older Japanese men love to smoke. I said, I don't know who you are or what you want or how you got here, but you got to get the hell out of here. I opened the the balcony door, and I started fanning the smoke out of my room. And I swear to God, y'all, I heard a person make a groaning sound like they was irritated, and it sounded like it was moving out the door. And that's it. That's my first ghost story. I got a few more, but that's like the least scary one. But if you want to hear more, let me know.
I wonder what the hell was that cloud of smoke. That probably was a ghost. He probably didn't see it, but what the hell is a cloud of smoke? And like he said, if he lived by the countryside, why is this smoke over here? And he wanted to enjoy some little crazy stuff. And what was that lady? Did she see the trench coat man? I think she did. Y'all comment down below. See y'all for day 48.